Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome to the market here at SpartanTrading.com. Wednesday, Fed Day. Welcome to those of you who are joining us with our live YouTube stream. This is what we do Monday through Friday. Rain or shine, as long as the market is open. Lots of big things to be talking about, and we're going to do a little bit of deep dive as to why I don't think the Fed is done. We'll talk about it. We'll see what everybody else thinks. And then we're going to look at what's going on with Microsoft, obviously. Earnings. You got to love it, right? So there was a, walk on the wild side here, you see, in terms of the Schiller home prices, et cetera. Consumer confidence higher, right? The auction, API crude was a build and sub draw. The statistical probability of being right is like 5% on this one, maybe less. So I don't know why they even bothered putting out a consensus, because I've never seen them right. Maybe once a year, twice a year, something like that. Okay, so out of Australia, inflation numbers are actually better. This is kind of interesting. Softer than expected monthly CPI was a little bit flat. They have it trimmed as well, 0.9 versus 1.1, 1%, right? Weighted 5.5. And then you see here, Q2, yada, 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 right? Out of Japan, 109.2, a little bit softer, a little bit higher. Loans to households, as expected, softer companies out of the EA. The Bund auction 2.45 versus 2.23. Then we have a mortgage back 6.87. Hong Kong Shanghai Bank out in the UK actually lowered their mortgage rates. Yay! Purchases index, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have here building permits, right? New home sales coming out. Well, here comes the crude numbers in terms of the EIA, natural gas, et cetera. And then obviously we had the Fed and then the conference. And then we'll talk. This is going to be interesting. Industrial profits actually pretty bad out of the China. Right, there you go. Boeing. So it's all about expectation, right? So yesterday was a great example of basically what Twins was saying. Okay, and everybody should understand this when it comes to earnings optics. Okay, it's where the bar is. The bar was so high for Microsoft, and the bar was kind of low for Google. But even with the low bar, Google did a good job, right? And God bless the little hoods. So what's the theme? Well, obviously AI. But this is the theme that we're starting to see. This is something that Musk said. And it's the exact same thing that came out of Google peeps as well. Okay, the two things that are most important right now, right? I think for any company going forward, but it should be, standard anyways, is creativity and productivity. If you don't have both, okay, then you're going to be left behind. Now, AI presents you with a lot of productivity, right, as well as creativity. But when you're talking about creativity, it's expansive, right? And I think that's why I think with Tesla and Musk, if the dude who's brilliant is focusing on creativity, right, it's not going to be on, cars, okay? It's going to be on something else, right? And I think that if you look in terms of these creative, productive minds, once again, thank God we had the rebalance, right, with Microsoft, because if we hadn't had the rebalance with Microsoft, then the market would be down, right, a lot more than it is currently. So I don't know, it's fascinating. All right, ADP guided higher, HLT, EDU, ALLE, OPM, POG. Look at these. Look at how these guided higher. Where the hell is this earnings recession? Okay, I don't see it. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Don't get me wrong. But at this point in time, we don't see it. And that comes to that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. If everyone's predicated, the recessionary, quote unquote, the smartest guys in the room, gals in the room, quote unquote, who have not been for over a year, and you know I don't have good things to say, okay? Because you have to be adaptive. You have to be imaginative. If you have no imagination, okay, then you're stuck. You're giving out bad advice or putting people into bad trades. That's kind of what I'm saying right now. So see, not good. Equinor, I'm a little surprised by this, to be honest with you. According, so anyways, there's a lot of positivity here to garner from these earnings day in and day out. Okay, so let's talk. The market has only priced in one hike, right? And then going forward. So all you have to do is go to CME Group. They have their interest rates, right? And then you go out a month, okay, 20%. November, right? Basically 5.5%. I'm sorry, 35%, 25 basis point hike. Okay, that's what they built in. Okay, that's it. Right, and then basically, all right. So, what's Powell going to say? All right, just hear me out. All right, let's look at what they look at. All right, so they've got this 2%. Okay, so everybody's happy, right? Things are coming down. Yay, we're excited. Yada, 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 right? 4.6, 12-month, still high. Trim, 4.3, 6 months. And then obviously on the 1 month, we're seeing this. But I think we actually have potentially a low in this, right? And that would make sense because if you look at CPI, right? Food, right, is, and then we're seeing a little pop in energy as well. Okay, so what do we got here? Since the Fed met, this is commodities, DBC metals, right, are up 7%. So what does that mean? The cost producer prices should go up. The cost of making goods should go up, right? I mean, that should make sense to everybody. Okay. Here's agricultural. The cost of goods since the Fed meeting has gone up 4% in terms of food, not X energy, but food, right? So if you look at the components that make up, you know, CPI and PPI, right? We're seeing a floor that is sticky. I'm not saying we're going to the highs. All I'm saying is I think we've seen the low. Now, the only way you get out of this, to be honest with you, is if you get off your ass and you stop with this 2% bullshit. Powell's not going to do that, right? Now, we do have a Fed board that's voting that's more dovish than hawkish, right? I still think if we continue to see strength on the commodity side, okay, as what in both steel, metals, as well as food, I think there's going to be another rate hike. I think there is. I don't think it's done, okay? If Powell comes out and say they're on pause, but there is a potential, he's probably going to say, we're going to assess month to month based on, we're data driven, right? Is that enough to get the market to move? Maybe, I don't know. Okay, what do we got? The yuan was used in 49% of China's cross-border transactions last quarter, topping the US dollar for the first time ever. This is the power of the coalition of BRICS. Everyone, basically, Asia Pacific Rim, India is doing the same thing. They want to basically, instead of doing US dollars, they want to bill in local currency. And I would not be surprised for an announcement. There's no reason why. They are accumulating gold for a reason, for stability, as a support for their currency, right? This is the present, the future, whether you want to see it as a big deal or not, that's your thing. But think about it. If this has the potential for the dollar to decline, okay? Because if it's being replaced by something else, and there's this supply overhang, I'm not saying it's today, but I'm saying 5, 10 years down the road, this is going to be impactful, right? Just shouting it out, whether you believe me or not. I've been shouting this out for months, how important this BRICS was. There was like dozens and dozens of countries want to join BRICS as a trading power, right? What could go wrong with that? Well, you know what goes wrong with that. Okay, like I say, China's major state-owned banks are selling US dollars to buy yuan in both onshore and offshore spot markets. Don't forget, China is the second largest holder of US treasuries, right? They trade on behalf of the central bank. You may not believe this to be important, but it is important. I'm just saying. What do we got? Okay, so something happened interesting. I love this trend spider, mainly because it gives me this sort of data. Okay, so we had double inside days. It's in the last 10 years, normally happened 23 times. Okay, and if you long the double inside day and exit 5 sessions later, you would have a 50% win rate of average of 2.79% and an average lose of 1.78%. So it's 50-50. Now, interestingly enough, we're going into earnings, right? So what does that tell you? Did you say India? Did someone say India, Roger? What did you say? Just say, did you say India, dude? Okay. I just think, anyways, here's a double inside day. NVIDIA, Blue, I have no idea what the hell. Google, well, there you go, the back breakout. But, okay, 130, 105, right? You got to break that, then obviously all-time highs. I got a lot of Googling. You know, there's a lot of people, I've been very frustrated with Google, but good things come to those who wait. And I did trim back a lot on my Microsoft, as everyone kind of knows. Why? Because I said, you know, it's in order for them to go up, if it's priced to perfection, it had to be crazy ass amazing. And I just didn't see it. So now Google's shining. So you just be patient. And, you know, obviously I'm going to take profits. You know, some profits on the open. All right, here we go. HSBC. Boeing. Wow. Let's see if it sticks, right? She's gold charging to records in 2024 as Fed cuts rates, BBG. Whatever. I don't like it when they're following what I say, but anyways, I know. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. Why not? How could I not be in it? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And I keep accumulating it too. So, anyways, I don't like it when they join me, but you know my narrative on that. Gold is an asset class, right? You know the drill. Look, we're going to go over this in one of my, oh, don't forget, I have my masterclass introduction. It's free to everybody. Please come and join. I'm going to discuss all this sort of stuff in my webinar. Introduction to what I'm going to be doing. We have exciting news as well. That's a tease, right? And it's next week. Okay, next Wednesday. Spartan's going to be posting all that stuff. Okay. So Binance withdraws, whatever. Anyways. China weighs easing tech transfers. Look, the full bore quantitative easing. They can't do it enough. Okay. Oil price 71.75. Exports 100. Traders are repurchasing a Eurobond call options trade. Well, if the ECB reduces interest rates to 1.5% in a year. Good luck with that. Russian oil exports are expected to increase in September amid refinery maintenance and after reductions in June to August. Okay. All right, here we go. Lifting. Roger has posted all the different stuff in terms of growth, and obviously India's #1 GDP growth. Right? Oh, how can you not be in India? That's all I have to say. If you don't want to deal with this shit with China, just deal with the shit out of India. India is going to lap China by a mile. It's just starting. It's just starting. The train is leaving the station, but this is a decade plus. This is a huge deal going on here with India. I mean, anyways. US 1.8 euro, UK flat. Japan, and that's something when Japan is almost the same as us, right? China, Russia. Even Russia's the same as us, right? Anyways, what do we got? Till rate spikes, his bottom line improves. 3 ways to the messed up. Yeah, F- for a reason. Expected, but hawks, doves differ on what's next. Look, it's not that I'm a hawk. I'm just being data dependent. Summer travel will be hit because of this Raytheon engine issue. Union Pacific misses. Boeing. Okay, Alphabet, Snap, and more. How can I ask, why is it? This is my question. Why is it every Snap earnings, the market buys, people buy it? Can someone explain this to me? Every Snap earnings, right? They buy it. Why? I don't understand. All right, well, okay, that's what they're saying. So Twins is disagreeing with the article. Look, I'm going to defer to him. Okay. Yeah, but if it's seeking alpha, it will get eyes, just so you know, Twins. I mean, it may be wrong, but it's going to get eyes. I can't. I'm just reading the headlines, guys. It doesn't matter if it's fake news or not. If it prints, people are going to follow it. The reason why I say this, and this is why, look, Twins thinks it's totally wrong. That's fine, okay? And he's entitled to that, right? But the reality is, hear me out here. If you got someone who basically has an 11% success rate as an analyst, and people are following them hand over fist, okay? I'm just asking, okay, why? This is the problem. It's all about sound bites. Whether they're right or wrong, don't know, but that's what they're saying. Okay. All right, Fed set to raise. I have no opinion on it because I don't know. I've been to Indiana. I wouldn't, I'm from the Midwest. Okay. And Indiana is. Anyways, Musk rebranded, whatever, X. God bless his little heart. A little dot on it and everything like that. DeSantis, okay, dude, you got all the sign bites. You're done, toast. Then Levy, go away, right? It's so hot they're growing mangoes in Italy. So I keep saying this. 10 plus years ago, there was a research piece out of Canada. It was out of Newfoundland, actually. I mean, they were looking at, the oceanic and all that stuff with the Arctic and yada, yada. They said across the board that in terms of the meridian and stuff like that, Northeast, and if you go out to Europe, would basically become like mid-Atlantic in terms of heat. Mid-Atlantic would become like the South, and the South would be like the tropics. We're seeing that happen, whether you believe it or not. So how does it, what, I don't know the answer to the question, but I do know that China, and this is where AI comes in. AI has the capacity to create. So China's doing these rockets to create atmospheric disruption to create rain, right? I don't know. What do you say? I don't know. You don't know. Now the rate hike, it might be the Fed's last. I don't know. I don't think so, but that's my opinion. The data doesn't warrant it. The data, if we get more, like I say, we have to do a CPI and PPI, but I think we have a floor. I don't think we're going to see any lower, and I think it's sticky. So for me, this is the construct, right? Either you really believe in recession, which would be deflationary, right? Or you believe in the commodity super cycle, which would be stagflation, right? I don't know. And stagflation is the worst of all evils. And I think that's what they fear most because they overdid quantitative easing. I don't know. Fight against corruption, well, seriously, this is a joke. I'm laughing. Ha, 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 ha. There's so much corruption. It's anyways. All right, Australia can be a reasonable moderator to ease U.S.-China tensions. Let's move on. Microsoft, winner, chicken dinner. $1 million at the money hedge, in the money hedge. Winner, chicken dinner. God bless. Right? Insider, let's see what's going on here. PWH, not much. I'm waiting for the filings. They're coming out in a few weeks, so that's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. Anyways, $500 million SYM, 10% owner, bought July 23rd. PWH. Let's see what's going on here. A lot of this was tied to options, grants, some selling, and MPWR and Beam me up. Not a good thing when they are selling at this price level. Okay, what do we got? INSM, Guggenheim. Now this is what I'm talking about. A 75% stud with a 147% price target. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. This is interesting. Cowan, MicroStrategy. Okay, interesting. KRS, yada, yada, yada. Let's see what the downgrades look like. Auger, market perform, that's on valuation, right? I don't know what that is. Omega Health, Raytheon, overweight to equal weight. They lowered their price target to 95, okay. Right? PME, overweight to neutral, strong buy, Auger, to market perform, no price target changes there. IBTX, Piper Sandler, overweight to neutral, but a higher price. I hate it when they do that. Does anybody else hate it when they do that? Okay, what do we got? Spotify. Yeah, well, whatever. Meta, 73%, and tap. Interesting. Spotify and WW. Watch those WWs from yesterday, my friend. Nice little pop there. What do we got? Insulet, Old Dominion. And it says, I kept saying this, Old Dominion's extended on a valuation basis. And you really have to stay away from it. I don't know if anybody is paying attention. It's only down less than 1%, but it really is. Apple's still there, Royal Caribbean's still there, Riley, China Mobile, P&G, yada, yada, yada. Let's move on. What do we got? Thoughts? Yield curve. Once again, I continue to say this. They're playing with fire with this inversion. Okay, so hear me out. don't forget, when you have a massive debt, i.e. a budget deficit for this country, it's expensive to finance it, right? And normally, I'll be honest with you, I would be shocked that if they were doing it on the long end of the curve. So obviously, probably it would be the front end of the curve. And that's probably part of the problem we have here, right? But it's kind of like feeds on itself. And it's kind of like, a cascade effect. Trying to stop this, I don't know how it works out. And I guess this is why a lot of people on the front end, I know that Twins has been barbelling it, and I also have a barbell, but I've been hedged, and that hedge has been really obviously working well for me. Okay. I don't know. It's tough. Overseas, Germany, France, UK, Spain, all up, all down in Asia Pacific Rim. This is tricky business here. I personally think that there's going to be a shock like last time. I think Powell has the capacity to just put his foot in it, right? Last time they were more hawkish than the market expected. I don't know. I don't see them being dovish. 2 5s, you see what's going on here. This is just epic. Can't even talk about that. We have the 5-10. This is kind of interesting in holding the line here. I mean, and you can see here, this goes back to 2000. So this isn't horrific, right? And then I say, if you look at the gold standard, which nobody's looking at, but the gold standard 310, 3-month 10-year, it hasn't touched or come close to what we saw during the Volcker year. Now, Lagarde is the female Volcker, equivalent of Volcker, okay? Powell's a political hack. I don't see how anyone can be head of the FOMC and not be an economist, period, exclamation point. Just saying, how's that possible? Anyways, 5-year, 30-year, this is fascinating. I think this was intervention. You do not see this sort of spikes. It doesn't happen that way, okay? China, and here we have kind of in the mid, I don't think we're going anywhere here, but you can see here, this is the weekly, but this is a multi-month consolidated pattern going on for quite some time. I have no idea what happens here, friends. But if you look in terms of as a whole in its totality, these are German rates, they're still pretty damn low, okay? If you look at it. I mean, and there's room, obviously, for rates to go higher. Let's take a look at the dollar. We talked about the dollar here bounce off the 61.8% Fib. Okay. I think this is range bound now. I think we're going to be pinned between the 38.2, and you can see it right here. I don't see us actually seeing any meaningful break on that. Okay. Anytime soon. But my bias is in terms of, the devaluing of the US dollar is going to come. It's not going to be, it's not going to be like a, third world country. Okay. But all right. So if you look at where we were, and if you look at where we are, we can, okay, the dollar's down 12% from the peak. Right? All right. What do we got? Yay. All right. What do we got? All right. Gold is up. Silver is up. Right. Watch this. This is going to be very, very important in terms of gold going forward for the next 3 to 6 months. Number one, it would be bad news, good action, or good news, good action sort of thing. I think we have a low setting in place. Irregardless, I will hedge my gold into the FOMC, then I would lift off that hedge. Okay. Brent crude's down a little bit. Natural gas is down, right? Aluminum also, we're seeing a pullback across the board here. Soybean is up, cocoa's up. For the most part, right now, it looks like it's probably 30-70, maybe 40-60 on the downside. So we're seeing profit taking coming into the FOMC, which is what you would expect on the commodity side. BBC we showed. I told you I was trimming mainly because you buy. This is the most important thing if you're going to do commodities. Well, this is what I do with everything. This is how I learn it with commodities. Okay, it's FIFO. First one in, first one out. Okay, you want to buy when nobody wants to buy. I do not pick tops. I sell into tops, and if it breaks out, then I'll look to add back in. If it confirms the breakout, I will look to add back in. I only pick A++ bottoms, accumulation. And this is why I'm up so much, okay, on my oil names, is because I don't care, right? If I see a setup, I buy the bottom quadrant and then I go from there, right? Okay. DBA, breaking out. Now let's see if it holds it. 78.6% fib critical. Let's see what happens here. 22.21. I would not be surprised to see a pullback here, consolidate, then give up again. Look, it has to go higher. I mean, just because of what's going on. There's no rain in sight, guys. None. All right, natty gas still consolidator, right? We are getting to the pivot here, that 268.5. Okay, see how that plays out. I have very small position on. Here's crude natty gas, kind of interesting here. You see how this normally is a function of natty gas selling off when it curls up like that. It's only a 10 EMA, so that's notable. I might put some KOLD on. Crude popped, but still, let's see if it holds. Look, on the wide, right, let's look at the monthly on this one. Okay, this is what it looks like. Okay, and you can see that, right? Pretty clean, right? 83.59, 64. And I said to everybody, you'd have to be absolutely crazy town if you didn't use the opportunity below $70 to buy crude. Crazy town, right? And the problem with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is funding. You can't buy crude for your reserves if you don't have the money that's allotted to you by Congress to buy crude for your reserves. Just say, I know they've been buying, but it's a problem. Here's gold crude sitting right here. This is going to be pivotal. Like I say, we'll see how it plays out. I will be buying dust into the FOMC. I'm going to use this, okay? I will be not, it'll be probably a 30% hedge, FYI. And that should make sense to everybody why it would only be, because I'm a perma bull on gold, and I think it's going a lot higher, but that doesn't mean you won't want to be smart about it, right? You don't want to put some hedges on, right? I mean common sense, right? Stocks. What do we got? Down, like I say, this would be a lot worse if we hadn't been rebalanced. God bless, right? Perfect timing on that. Fixes up slightly, not a big deal. Overseas markets are down. Down, 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 down. Hang Seng, China, up, up, up. And let's see, Nifty 50, up. Okay. This is that, this is fascinating, okay? So this is their long-term model. And I wanted to bring this to your attention, okay? So you can see here, this is where they sold. So obviously they're underwater on this, but the fascinating part about this, they bought back here in 2009, this model, and it's been long since then. So clearly we got to give this the benefit of the doubt. But interestingly enough, it didn't break this sell pivot. It's still below it. Now, the question was bear market, whatever. It's not a bear market, okay? We're in a bull market. But in bull markets, you can have pullbacks, right? Look, if you're in a bear market, everything sells off, right? There's no place to hide except safe haven, which would be, remember, consumer staples and XLV. I mean, there's literally was no safe haven, right? In bonds, right? No safe haven anywhere, whatever, right? But look at stocks that are up. Come on, I mean, that's ridiculous. Anyways, okay. Like I said, it's ridiculous. DAX still consolidating upper quadrant, time will tell. Fez consolidating upper quadrant, time will tell. EFA consolidating upper quadrant, time will tell. FXI still consolidative, rebuffed at this 23.6% fib. KWeb, same thing, reversion to the mean. EEM consolidative, still monthly multi-month sideways consolidation, nothing there yet. CQQQ consolidation, nothing there right now. QQQCQQ. I said, watch this, guys. Guess what? Knock, knock, knocking. All right. Now, this is going to be important, right? We'll see this. We'll see how this plays out. Okay, so this would be one of the signals for me that we're going to see a more interesting pullback. But I'll be honest with you. Now that we've got this rebalance, right, it's not as big a deal, right? I mean, all right, so here you go, the Qs. So Apple is now top dog, 11.5%. Microsoft is 9.86. Like I say, God bless. Google now is 5.7, but that's going to pop up, right, with what's going on here. So that's going to lap that. So it's going to leapfrog above Amazon right now, right, on a weighting basis. We got Pepsi, we got Costco. This is not a bad holdings, right? If you look at it. I mean, I think what they did was meaningful, impactful, and healthy. So I think the sky's not falling now just because of the reweighting that's going on. All right, let's take a look at Microsoft. So this is Tesla against Microsoft. All right, so we came back down here to the 10 AMA. Now we're bouncing here. All right, keep an eye on that. This is Microsoft in and of itself, but you see here, broke out. Now, guess what? Coming back down. So what's going to be important? 320.65 on Microsoft. So how am I hedged with Microsoft? I basically, I'm in this MSFD. That's how I hedge it. I have a very, I really lightened up on my position. And I don't have a robust hedge either, FYI. So like I said, we'll see how it plays out. Okay. But that's how I hedged it. FANG, Microsoft. Boop. Right? Top of the Bollinger. Whoop. Coming back down. So the leadership that we having right now with Microsoft, okay, is waning, right? Okay, and we see it starting to pull back a little bit, but we have to keep an eye on FANG as a whole to see if we get pull back. So here's Microsoft against Meta, right? Well, guess what? We market down here. So we broke this key fib, right? Interesting, right? So next leg down coming, right? So obviously, Meta outperforming Microsoft. Now, this has been going on for a while with this double top, and I love my double tops and stuff like that. So basically back here in October 2022, it said you wanted to be overweight Meta against Microsoft, and look at how that trade would have paid. Okay, Microsoft, Amazon, interesting, neutral. Was up, now it's neutral. Microsoft, Apple, keep an eye on this one. Quadruple top, pulling back here. Still range bound, but there's a lot of room on the downside here, friends. Microsoft, Google, oh my God, I'm swimming. So yesterday, everybody knows, I trimmed back a lot of my Microsoft and I put hedges on. I got some puts on, those are gonna be hanging. Look at this. Okay. So from here to here is 15%, and we've kind of already done a lot of it, right? But let's say we do a round tripper here. That's a 30%. So what does that look like? Google goes up.
All right, Beth's ready to pop on here, whatever. Alrighty, guys, what's up? Morning. What's going on, people? Let me just pop up the screen share here. I'll get right into it. If you guys are new to chat and haven't already done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You're gonna pop in a chat. It's gonna look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, click on the disclaimer section, give that a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section and scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you can see a link to the disclaimer as well as this bold and risk reward section. Super important to understand both. In regards to risk reward, most important ratio in trading, guys, so definitely worth checking out in that regard. Continue to scroll down. We have summary how this chat works, breaks all the channels work on the left hand side, so you can probably navigate the chat throughout the day. Important to know where you'll be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have the how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Below this, options rules that we use Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. Below this, SPX rules that we use every single day in regards to the SPX ideas. Below that, continue to scroll down. We have anyone with a small account less than 10K breaking down. If you do have a smaller account less than 10K, here's some rules, information, discipline you can put in place so you can better manage your account, how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective below that. And lastly, high conviction small account trades posted in that high conviction small account trade area when they do make sense. Continue to scroll down. Oh, that's it. Yeah. So pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today, guys? A couple different things. Nice little gap down on the SPY here. Tesla gapping down simply with the market. Microsoft gapping down on earnings, of course. BA 737 program is transitioning production to 38 per month and plans to reach 50 per month in the 2025 to 2026 timeframe. So they're ramping up production, which is sweet. Great for Boeing, of course. UMP gapping up on earnings and CEO change. CMO China conditionally approves max linear deal, I guess. Snap gapping down on earnings. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two names that we're going to be looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla and going to be that Microsoft. So let's take a look at these. Let's rip through these charts. It's going to be an interesting and busy day, obviously, too, guys. We got FOMC this afternoon, and then obviously we continue with busy earnings week. So anyways, first two names we're looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla and Microsoft. So let's have a look. I'm just moving these two charts out of the way. All right. Yeah. All righty. So Tesla, guys, let's take a look at this. $226.22 pivot to the downside today, unable to hold. 256.20 to 247.27. Able to hold 273 to 280.86 upside, going to be leaning bearish neutral at the moment. Looking for a little bit of a pullback. I think it's going to get to like 260s and then we can look for a bounce area there. We'll see what happens though. Going to be leaning bearish neutral in my opinion out the gate, and then I can be looking for a curl. That's going to be a Tesla. Let's take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft levels already done. Yeah, they are good. Okay. Just was checking the bigger time frame. All right, Tesla or Microsoft, 339.37 pivot levels able to hold 342.57. to 345.45. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 335.99 to 333.35 on the downside. Going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today. If we can get above that pivot, I think we can bounce. So we'll see what happens in that regard. Also, it's going to be interesting with the FOMC, right? If the market does push, then I would expect this to get probably a full reversal back towards the last day close price. But of course, if the market sells off, this thing can get hammered too. So should be interesting either way. That's Tesla, that's Microsoft. Let's take a look at the next two. BAUMP. All right, let's get the top end of those ranges on BA. BA 221.73 pivot levels able to hold 223.97, 227.11. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 218.67 to 214.89 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish out the gate, looking for a pop, potentially breaking the 224, getting to 227, and then topping for it to come back in. The BA chart typically stays range bound for quite some time, so I'm thinking that's what happens today. You get a pop and then a pullback off of this news. So if I could see 227 out the gate, that'd be pretty sweet. Maybe a little bit higher before it pulls back, but that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Let's take a look at UMP here. Yeah, there we go. Pretty good. $231.95 level holds, 235.13, 238.73. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 228.72 to 226.48 on the downside. Going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today if that pivot point is able to hold. So that's UMP and that is BA. Let's go like this. There we go. Next two guys we're going to be looking at is the CMO and Snap. We'll rip through those charts as well. Okay, CMO Snap. Jesus, imagine being this one overnight. What a beautiful move. Same. Pivot 88.63 level holds 94.34, 98.73. Unable to hold 83.50 to 79.59 downside, leaning bullish neutral. Looking for it to grind higher. It may make sense to grab on like dips or whatever. Usually trades at a little bit of a discount to what the deal is at. Take up value. Okay, let's take a look at Snap. Right into this 10 support here. Okay. I'll keep it. 1048 pivot level holds 1106, 1149, unable to hold 994, 970 downside. Actually, be leaning a little bit on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a slight bounce, and then I think it can roll over. All right, let's take a look at the spine of the fang, my friends. That's SEMO, and that is snap. All right, spine the fang. Let's have a gander. All right, guys. SPY 456.07 pivot level holds 458.37 to 460.07. Unable to hold 453.78. 450.97 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish. Neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today, if the pivot point is able to hold. So I want to see a push back into that level this morning and then see what happens. I don't mind gap down days. I think they're actually pretty fun to trade, especially before big news or binary event type of days where we have the FOMC or something that's similar, like CPI data or something like that. Tend to get a nice amount of oomph. Okay. 190, 290 pivot level holds 194.46, 185.63, unable to hold 191.18 downside, leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if the pivot point is able to stay intact. That's Apple. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon 127.06 pivot level holds 129.03 to 131.77. Unable to hold 125.24 to 122.75 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a push to the upside today, in my opinion, if the pivot point is able to hold. So be looking for a little bit of a bounce if we can get above that pivot. If not, then of course it will continue upon its trajectory. Netflix. So 428.90 pivot to the downside, unable to hold 49, 419, sorry, 04 to 407.54, able to hold 440.75. Going to be leaning bearish, neutral, looking for continuation lower if the pivot point is unable to hold. Google's actually quite a nice chart now. 128.94 pivot level holds 131. 31 to 132.49. Unable to hold 126.92, 125.18, leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a grind higher.
You have to do meta.
Oh yeah, wow, okay. Where did I miss that one? All right, guys, let me just crank out meta, and then I'll pass it over to South Beach, and I'll do the VIX-Qs and the IWM by myself, and then we'll come back and do a recap with those as well. Let me just quickly do meta. 299.11 pivot level is able to hold. 2304.25, 310.09, unable to hold. The 290. 271 to 287.56 downside, leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point is able to hold. All right, guys, that's Meta. And I will go ahead, pass over to South Beach for a little bit. While I type up the pre-market action plan, and just for Beth, the Qs, I'll be leaning bullish, neutral, so is the SPX. So when you see the charts, you know. Anyways, South Beach, if you're ready, it's all yours for now, my friend. I'm sure he's there, guys. He'll turn on his mic.
I was talking and not turning on the mic. Typical. I'm noticing these. There must be some EV numbers out of China because these three stocks are ripping right now. XPIV, LI, and NEO. Anyway, chart wise, the one I'm really watching more than anything is the transports, because that's what gave those things, when they got in the giddy up mode, the market really exploded to the upside. So I'm watching those carefully. That chart is just still gorgeous. SPY, same thing. Okay, daily, weekly, bull territory. Qs, oh, you know, a little. They basically broke that little up channel they had, but it was very, it was a very steep chart, so I'm not really surprised by that. The weekly is still in good shape. So the market, look, it's had a great run. For it to come back a little bit, I don't think destroys the narrative. Let's put it that way. Looking at the bond market, we have the Fed meeting today. The 10-year's down a little bit in front of it, 386, kind of like middle of its range, I'd say, as of late. And that 210 spread is, what is it, 101? Yeah, 101. The short end of the curve refuses to budge. Okay, that stays pretty steady at the highs that we've seen for a while now, 551 and 540 on the 6 in 1 year. All right, rates in London are pretty flattish. Germany, they're ticking up a little bit, but no real change. So we have the Fed meeting today, and that'll be see what this man has to say. Anyway, moving to commodities, we have oil down a little bit today. These stocks were pretty strong yesterday, big oil and gas and so forth. Natural gas is in that trading range. Metals, gold's a little strong. Copper is the one I really watch, and that's been in a pretty tight rate, a big range, but kind of in the middle of it. And these individual agricultural commodities have their own predetermined situation. Most of them are bouncing pretty good off the bottom, but I mean, each one's a little different. Wheat's had a big run because of the obvious and so on. Nothing to garner from that, I don't think. Currency-wise, dollars mixed against North America, down against the yen, up against the Chinese currency. Euro's flattish, as is the pound, 110, 129 there. Crypto should be pretty flat this morning. Yep, dead flat. Bitcoin dead flat. Ethereum dead flat. Solana up 5%, up $1. And foreign markets, let's see what we got there. FTSE's down 0.5%. DAX is down 1%, 160 points. CAC is down 2%. Interesting. Nikkei dead flat. China pretty flat. Hong Kong pretty flat. Okay, down a little bit each, 0.3 or so. Okay, so there's your backdrop. So you got the Fed meeting today, 2 o'clock. I'm sure he'll have a Q&A afterwards. That's when we're going to get, basically what's what. Right now, it's, 99.8% of the people think we're going to get a quarter-point raise. I'm sure that's what we're going to get. And then we'll see what his stance is for next time. The length between the next meeting and this one, they say, is longer than most, but you have that Jackson Hole thing in a couple of weeks. And wow, this XPIV is really flying. We have the Jackson Hole thing in a few weeks, so he can, basically use that as a pulpit to say whatever he wants to say. So meetings at 2. Remember, the first move is usually the wrong move. And then we'll have to see what he says. And the day after Fed Day is usually they take away what they gave you the Fed Day. So if we have a big down, they generally rally and vice versa. That's generally what happens in this situation. Okay. More times than not. Banks and Fed, China, nothing special out of those guys that I won't talk about in a few minutes. Russia, same. Crypto we discussed. Mr. Market yesterday. So we had what was good yesterday? Let's see what we have here. There we go. Materials were the best group. Big oil and gas was good. Semis were good. FANG was good. And on the negative, we had banks and airlines. Okay, banks got hit late in the day on that Pac West when it was held, etc. So that's what was going on yesterday. So we're looking for a 1/4 point today. I think the big problem, guys, is this wage inflation. Okay, not so much like commodity inflation or anything like that, but wage inflation is, I mean, like, look at what we've seen recently. We have the auto workers striking, right? We'll see what's going to happen with that. We had the UPS. We saw how those stocks reacted when they said they came to a settlement right down the poop chute. Not good there. We have the pilots getting a 40% raise over 4 years, right? We got the writers and the actors going on strike. There's a lot, a lot of stuff. Okay. And so wage inflation, clearly, especially unionized wage inflation, is very, very obvious. I think that's the main problem we're seeing. And I think something that I don't know if he's going to address, Powell's going to address specifically, but I would bet dollars to donuts he has his eyes on that one pretty good. Okay. Car repair costs up 20%. I mean, just, there's inflation. I mean, whether you like it or not, maybe some things supply chain wise are better, but I think we see higher rates for longer. I don't know if they're going to raise after this one. We'll see. I tend to think not, but you never know. Okay, there was just another governor on. He said we're going to have at least 1 or 2 more after this. Who knows? Hunter Biden pleads guilty to 2 tax misdemeanors for late payment. This is kind of unique. The House panel is holding a public hearing on UFOs with 3 military personnel testifying. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Samsung is coming out with 2 new foldable phones, kind of getting in line with their competition. We'll see what Apple does. Maybe they'll go for a foldable phone. Maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with my Apple device. So whatever they come out with is probably, I wouldn't switch. Let's put it that way. Mortgage demand down 3% for the week, 23% year over year. Rates are holding steady at 687. You know the reason. People don't want to move because of the higher interest rates. That's pretty obvious, right? Russia raises conscription age from 27 to 30. That creates 2.4 million more troops. And if you're called, you can't leave the country. So I'm glad I don't live in Russia. Let's put it that way. Zelensky is having corruption hearings, and he arrested a couple of people for taking bribes, etc., etc. Everybody has those issues. I don't know if you saw this, but the ocean currents in the Atlantic, they're saying there's a real problem there. They're kind of the flow is changing, and it could change as early as 2025, infecting even the Gulf Stream. That would make temperatures in England a lot colder than they are now. And so much for people saying there's no global warming, right? We know that's BS. In fact, Europe temperatures today in Sicily, 114 degrees. That's a pretty hot day. Tata Group building a $5 billion gigafactory. This is a little startling to me. 70% of the people of Americans that have money in banks haven't moved to higher yield yet. So they're getting this 0.42%, which is the average from these big banks, as far as if you keep your money in the account and you don't switch them into bonds. I mean, 70%, like what rock are you living under? That's pretty bad. Dow 12 days in a row up, most since February 2017. Senate passes a bill to restrict investments in Chinese tech. Leon Black accused of rape with Jeff Epstein's house, wonderful person. Wells Fargo, $30 billion buyback, and they increased their dividend. GM had said they're getting rid of this Bolt, but they're not. Okay, they said they're going to produce it again this year. Home prices in Seattle and San Francisco down double digits, says Redfin. Okay, let's look at individual stocks, see what we got. Okay, a lot of earnings, a lot of stuff, right? And we have a lot more tonight after the close, right? Meta, CMG, Now, QS, a bunch of names. Okay, so Boeing came in, they were good. They gave the production schedule for that 737 MAX at, I think it's 38 a month. So they're going to start with that. Coke, they increased the guidance. It was up $1 and now it looks like not so much. So that was Coke. Google had a really good day. What else? Rolls-Royce, I don't know if you saw, it was up 20%. Okay. They're basically in the jet engine business, not the car business. Okay. So, that's probably one of the reasons GE did so well, right? AULT was good. This is a shock. Tilray beat estimates. That piece of garbage for the first time as long as I can remember. TSEM was good. VICR, UNP. Numbers weren't good, guys. Weren't terrific anyway. But what is terrific is they brought their CEO out of mothballs that had been there for a long time. Got rid of the old CEO that people weren't happy with, and this is pushing the stock up pretty good. Okay, so they really like this UNP management change. Teladoc was good. Telephone, Glaxo, GD, letter R, and PRG. Okay, all good. Google Cloud Business was one of the highlights of their call. Gap Stores. It's up on stealing an executive from Mattel, the guy who revived Barbie. And stocks up on that. Wells Fargo, I told you, right? AWIN's a momentum stock. CMO, China approved this deal. It had been made over a year ago. Okay, stocks up a lot on that. And the company that's taking them over, MXL, is getting drubbed on that. I guess they didn't expect that one, right? Otherwise, one wouldn't be down 10, the other up 40. BANC and PACW. Let's look at the ramifications for that one for a minute, okay? First of all, the first two deals we saw, right? Silicon Valley and First Republic, they basically bought those companies for nothing. Now they're paying, okay? This was not a Fed-induced deal, okay? So they're paying real numbers for this company. We'll see if the FTC allowed this deal to go through because they're both Southern California-based companies. So we'll see how that goes. And this is positive for the banking group, right? Okay, so it feels like, they just raised the flag that the worst is over. All right, so I think that's important. Let's look at this bank, BANC, for a minute, okay? They said the stock trades at 10 times forward PE. And they said this is going to increase their earnings by 20% plus next year. Okay. So if you do the numbers, at 10 times, it's supposed to be $1.46. If you increase that by 20%, you get $1.75. Okay. And what kind of multiple do you want to put on it? If they were making 10 times at $1.46 and you're increasing your earnings growth, the PE multiple expands. So even if you gave them as, even 11, okay, times $1.75 gives you a $19.25 stock. So if you take 0.65 of that, which is what this PacWest is getting, that's $12.50. Okay, so my contention is you can buy a stock right now at $9.75 that I think will be $12.50 at least in 2024. So that's a pretty good return. $3 on 12, it's like a 30% return, which I think this, if this stock comes in, I really like it. I mean, I really like it. And buy Pac West because you get a bigger bang for your buck, right? Well, let's just make sure that's correct before I go on. Bank is trading. Where's the bank? BANC trading. 15, let's call it, okay? Times 0.65. It should be trading at a discount to what it's worth. Let's see if it is a discount. That's 9.75. So it's trading exactly the level. All right, but I still like it because it's cheaper than the other one. So you get a bigger bang. You know, the return is a little bit better, but I like them both. Like, I think this is a really good deal. I think these stocks are cheap, and I think people are so blown away that they're not paying what they should pay for BANC. Or maybe they don't think the deal's going through. Okay, but I don't know. I would think the Fed, you know, tells the FTC to piss off, and they let this deal go through. Anyway, that's my analysis on that one. Dish is doing some kind of deal with Amazon Prime. Stocks up on that. Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon are teaming up to create maps, okay, to get rid of that duopoly between Google and Apple. So you're going to have a third provider of maps on your phone and whatnot. All right, ABOS, insider buying at RA on that secondary that came a week or so ago. Okay, on the negative side, you had Microsoft, which really wasn't bad. I mean, and the stocks had a great run. Snap, on the other hand, that was kind of crappy. Stocks down too. TMO was bad. Texas Instruments, WM, Slab, MNRO was crappy. RHI, Wire, SLGN, Neighbors, UHS, TMHC, CSGP, and EQNR. Okay, Wendy's was downgraded by some boutique firm along with Cake. Amazon, what's going on here? Oh, the FTC is trying to break up Amazon. My contention, the stock would go higher if they were successful. Okay, that's what I think would happen. The biggest research call on the day in my eyes was the downgrade in Target from Raymond James. Okay, and the reason they downgraded it. Okay, so basically they're saying that things aren't improving there. All right, here, let me find it. Traffic trends remain soft. Consumer discretionary spending is weak. Delays Target's margin recovery story, etc. Okay, so they do not like this one, and I think that's a pretty big call. We'll see how the stock acts on the news. All right, a couple of guys like this TARS. It's some little biotech stock. Everybody likes Spotify. Everybody likes Google. RHI had a negative call there. I think the market will have its, you know, trade the way it trades. It'll be, you know, whatever. It looks like tech's going to be a little soft into the number. People will get flat, you know, like 12 o'clock. We'll see what the Fed does. And then, you know, things will move however they're going to move. Okay. Based upon what he says. But it looks like coming out of the chute, the banks, relief rally. I think things there are a lot better than we think, and I like that group. Tech wise, they've had a good run, so for them to come in a little bit, I don't think it's a major deal. I'm watching the transports because that's been the leading group as far as what the market's going to do, and that continues to be strong. Okay. Yes, I think you're right, Raj. And that's it for me. I'm going to pass it to my friend Spartan. And let's have a good day, guys. Spartan, it's all yours. Sure, he'll be on in a second. It's weird.
Alrighty, guys. Sorry, I just was walking back out of water. All right, so if you guys are new to chat, have already done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. It'll pop into chats and look something a little bit like this. First dare to go to when you guys do come in. Click on that pre-market section. Oh, sorry, click on the disclaimer section, give it a read, as well as go to the pre-market or go to the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you got a link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both. In regards to risk reward, guys, it is the most important ratio in trading, so definitely worth going through this section. You got videos explaining how risk reward works, profiles you can use to match your account size, and then this risk reward calculator, which you can use to actually calculate risk reward on the go. Continue to scroll down. Some of you how this chat works, breaks all these channels work on the left hand side, so you can properly navigate the chat for the day. Important to know to be looking. Continue to scroll down. How to read alerts on the opposite equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Below this, options rules are used Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling and scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. SPX rules that we use every single day in regards to the SPX chat there. Below this, any of the small account less than 10K breaking down. If you do a smaller account less than 10K, there's some rules, information, discipline you can put in place. You can better manage your account, in our opinion. How to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective right below that. High conviction small account trades posted in the high conviction small account area when they do make sense. And then last but not least, let's take a look at the pre-market tickers section on watch. Everything's posted here, guys. Take a look at that. As per usual. All right, let's take a look what we got going on today. So a couple of things: Tesla, Microsoft, BA, UMP, CMO, Snap. Tesla gapping down to stick the market. Microsoft gapping down on earnings. BA 737 program is transitioning production to 38 per month. Plans to reach 50 per month by 2025, 2026. So ramping up production. UMP gapping up on earnings and CEO change. So we just talked about that. CMO, China conditionally approves their Max Linea deal, gapping up. Snap gapping down on earnings. Let's take a look at these names from a technical perspective. Intraday, first two we're looking at today, going to be the Tesla, going to be the Microsoft. Let's have a look. So Tesla, guys, pivot to the downside today, 266.22, unable to hold 256.20, 247.27, able to hold 273, the 280.86 on the upside, gave you leading on the bearish neutral side there. If the pivot's unable to hold, Microsoft pivot upside is going to be the 339.37 level hold, 342.57, 345.45, unable to hold 335.99 to 335.35 downside. Going to be leading on the bullish neutral side if the pivot point is able to be reclaimed there. Let's take a look at BA, let's take a look at UNP. BA UMP, BA 221.73 pivot, level holds 223.97, 227.11, unable to hold 218.67 to 214.89 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today if the pivot point is able to hold, in my opinion. UMP pivot 231.95, level holds 235.13, 238.73, unable to hold 228.72 to 226.48 on the downside. Let's take a look at CMO and Snap. CMO 88.63 pivot, level holds 94.34 to 98.73, unable to hold 83.50 to 79.59 on the downside. Going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation push higher if the pivot point is able to hold. We'll see what happens in that regard. Snap 10.48, level holds 11.06, 11.49, unable to hold 9.94 to 9.68 on the downside, leaning bullish neutral. All right, let's take a look at the spine of the FANG. $456.07 level holds, 458.37, 460.07, unable to hold 453.78 to 450.97 on the downside, of leading bullish neutral there. I'm going to type this out. I forgot to do that. Bye. Okay. All right, so SPY 456.07 pivots to the downside. Okay, this level is unable to hold from lower into the 453.78 support breaks. We see the 450.97 pivot holds room higher into the 458.37 resistance breaks, We see the 460.07 tested, leaning bullish. Neutral. I basically want to see this thing, catch a support, bounce off of it. That's what I'll be looking for on the SPY. Let's take a look at the rest of the thing here. Just gonna copy and paste that. Okay. All right, the rest of the thing. Let's have a look. $192.90 pivot to the upside today. Level holds 194.46, 195.63. Unable to hold 191.18 downside. Leaning bullish neutral there. Amazon pivot upside today. 127.06 levels able to be reclaimed. Room towards 129.03 to 131.77. Unable to hold 125.24, 122.75 downside. Leaning bullish neutral there. Netflix pivot to the upside today. 428.80 level holds 440.75. Unable to hold 419.04 to 407.54 downside. Going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side if the pivot point's able to. Actually, I'll be leaning on the bearish neutral side there. Looking for it to roll over. Meta pivot actually looks pretty good. 299.11 level holds 304.25, 310.09. Unable to hold 292.71 to 287.56 on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral there. Google pivot to the upside 128.94 level holds 131.31 to 132.47. Unable to hold 126.92 to 125.18 downside. Leaning bullish neutral if the pivot's able to hold there. VIX. What do we got here? 1407 level holds 1434 to 1475. Unable to hold 1383 to 1350 on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral. All right, let's take a look at the next couple names here. QQQs. Uh, 376.66 pivot level holds 318.16 to 382.99. Unable to hold 374.31 to 370.63 downside. Leaning bullish neutral if the pivot's able to hold. SPX. Oops. There we go. SPX. Let's take a look at that. 445.61 pivot level holds 45.87. Unable to hold 45.28, 44.89. Leaning bullish neutrals. I think it's going to be obviously we'll get our movement out the gate this morning, and then it will slow down into the FOMC as it always does, and then obviously on FOMC release it's going to be pretty busy, exciting as it typically is. Should be an interesting one. Taking the follow through we get in the morning will be decent, and then obviously the range into the end of the day is going to be pretty good as well, in my opinion. So we'll watch for that, and yeah, let's have a good day, my friends. I think it'll be an interesting one, that's for sure. Spartan NVIDIA levels, sure. Let's take a look at those. So NVIDIA, in my opinion, 461, obviously 83 next day, or last day resistance. You got some resistance right here we can use. 465.15, then 480.46. So quite a bit of room above that. Downside support, in my opinion, 448.62 to 439.38 on the downside. Alrighty, guys. So thanks for coming into the YouTube stream. If you guys want to come trade with us, you can certainly do so. Go to SpartanTrading.com. Watch for I have a small pick thesis coming out, guys. Probably sometime this week, I think. I just was completing it last night. Don't think I'm going to put it out today, but probably tomorrow, maybe. Anyway, stay tuned for that. I'll post something on YouTube as well. But yeah, thanks for popping in. And yeah,